Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a very interesting week attending these seminars, and I'm learning so much. These are valuable things that I think that each of us should try to experience if we don't have knowledge in some relative field that we work in or we deal in. Because I deal in people. And so it's always important for me to understand the people that I'm dealing with, right? And so, I had some great things that I picked up today. And I was reading some information online just a minute ago, and I want to share this with you. And then I'll go into my discussion. But here goes. The leadership of an organization is authentic and therefore worthy of trust. Many organizations will never embrace this because they are managed by people incapable of listening. Leaders need to be challenged, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, the reason why that last particular statement was important, absolute power corrupts absolutely, is how I want to frame this discussion, because I'm talking about narcissists, but not just regular everyday narcissists that your co-workers with, or that you see in the store, that you have to deal with in some run-in situation. I'm talking about narcissism in leadership. When you have a narcissistic supreme boss over all of the bosses, the master planners who plan, attacks on certain employees that they have issues with because those employees may have, a bright mind or, a good character or something, and there's something that they want to take away from that person. So they use the flying monkeys, right? They use all of the tools at their disposal, their power in general, which is greatly corrupted, right? Because leaders should feel responsible, and they should be responsible. But when you're dealing with a narcissist, they don't take responsibility because it's hard for them to see themselves less than grandeur, right? Or have a grandiose sense of who they think they are. But these people will do all types of things. Now, I talked to you guys in other videos about, because when it comes to a boss, these are the people who are responsible for your promotions and, your raises and, and anything, your vacation time and all types of things that you will need from a job when you work there. And you'll need the support of that boss because it's being fair. If everyone else is, getting these benefits, then you should get them too. So you may find yourself in a work environment where, you don't get the supplies you need. Now, everyone else in your department, they can just pick up the phone and, like Johnny on the spot, they'll get everything and everything they need right away with no delay, because the bottom line is important. But when it comes to you, the games will be played on you for a specific reason. The bottom line doesn't mean anything. It never meant anything anyway to these bosses, which is what I'm talking about, because that's how the workplace gets corrupted, with flying monkey bullshit and master planner bullshit. But since this is about the master planners, I just want to tell you people that you are miserable people. We don't know what you did. We don't know what bootstraps you licked. We don't know how many butts you kissed in your life. We don't know how many people you may have slept with, or whatever you've done to gain the power, right, that you have in this current moment. Now, it may not last forever. And I told you guys, in a lot of cases, because you guys are brought in by the same type of low-functioning people, who probably have their hands dirty with all types of company affairs that no one knows about, that board members or some bigger fish on in the sea or something, some bigger fish may see, and then they'll bring it to you being the bosses. And so once that comes out, everyone that you recruited, all of your cronies that you brought in and gave these beautiful salaries, all of y'all will get rolled out at the same time. If I'm a mayor and I have an appointment power, authority or something, and I have people on my team, and you find out that I've been embezzling funds or just doing any type of thing like that, then you can rest assured that every single one of the people that I'm with will roll out with me. And that's justice. So you're not fair, and you have a skewed way of thinking, right? That's the problem. The problem is that you have a very skewed way of thinking. And if it's not relative to what you want or enriching yourselves, then you don't want it. So people have to suffer. There has to be casualties in this shit. And you'll make them easily because you don't really care about anyone, not even your cronies. And they are expendable, like I keep telling you people. But some of you people out there, you will kiss up to these bosses. You will do anything to get ahead. You'll do anything for their acknowledgement because you're a low-life, low-functioning motherfucker. All of you, men and women, all races, you know. Now, I worked a job years and years and years ago, and I never forget the day. It was the day that it was during the O.J. Simpson trial thing, and I think it was the actual day that he was acquitted, right? And they had a guy that worked at the place I worked at the time. Doesn't matter what I was doing. But I was working at a place and they fired a guy. Literally. The newest guy at the job, they fired that person on that day. And the reason that they fired the person, because you know, when they left, they told everyone what happened. They fired him because they said, we just have too many people on payroll and, you know, we need to, you know, you're the last one we hired, and so, you know, we're going to have to let you go. And that was their excuse for doing such. But, you know, prior to that, everything was fine. You know? Now, those were master planner moves that were done in that situation. But the flying monkeys, the co-workers, you know, this guy had a best friend, and I stood back and watched this, but his very best friend ignored him, treated him as if he didn't even know him. They had been friends for whatever. I don't know how long they were friends, but they were good friends. And as soon as this happened, the friend of the guy that got fired decides that he wants to excommunicate with this guy. So he ignored the guy on his way out the door. He didn't help him pack his stuff up. He just, you know, looked down, turned his head away from this guy. And that was so no one would see or suspect that he was supporting the person that got fired, because that person was a target. And so because he didn't want a target on his back as well, he played the game. Now, I get survival. I get you need your job and stuff like that. But sometimes you have to stand up for principles. It's not really about you going to the boss and cursing them out about why they fired someone, because that's ridiculous. But how you treat that person shows who you really are, because that's who you were from the start. And they were the dumb ones for even believing and trusting in you as friends. Because if you can't ask your friends for support, what can you do? Who do you have in this world? Right? So to be stabbed in the back is a terrible thing. Now, when it's a flying monkey involved, because of the type of way I think and because what of the things I know and experience in this world, I don't really fret much when a flying monkey decides to be dismissive of me, because they're not worth anything. Now, those of you who are very, very, very naive and you just fall for these things, you tell these people all of your business and everything. They go back to the master planner and they drop a line in their ear about everything you told them relative to your life, the struggles that you're having, if you're having bill struggles, if you're fucking having marital problems, whatever's going on in your life, they will go back and deliver this information to the master planner solely for the purpose of undoing you. Somehow the master planner will have much time, because they don't do shit anyway. They sit in their office and they'll sit back in that office and they'll think all day. They're not thinking about how to save more money for the job or be efficient for the company or implement some things that'll help the employee morale. They're not thinking about that. No. They're thinking about that bazooka that they need to pull out and blow the fly off the wall with. And you're the fly. Right? They use excessive amounts of force to do little jobs. They're extreme in that sense. So, you guys are victims of this shit. And I keep encouraging people who keep talking about wanting to start their own business. I keep trying to encourage you to do so. Because then you hold the cards, and then, you don't have to worry about the games. Now, you'll still have to play them in life, because that's another two-pronged point that I want to make, is that most people in this world that I'm seeing, remember, I haven't seen the whole world. I haven't met everyone in the world. But every time I meet groups of people every day, I do a tally, I do a working tally, right, on how many people were decent by my standards and how many people were crass, right, or uncouth or intolerable, right, by my standards. I always have an uneven number. It's never even. It's never like more good people than bad. It's always more bad people than good. So after days and days and weeks and months of this shit, and years in some cases, you start to realize that there are more people who gravitate to the bullshit. Most of the time that you see this bullshit is when you have a job, because you're adults. When you're in your free open space and you're on your own time, you can do what you want to do. If someone's pissing you off, you can just simply get in your car and drive away, or walk away, or ride a bike away or something. You can get away from these people. But in the workplace, this is where your livelihood comes in. This is how you pay your bills. This is how you put food on the table. And so you have to consider all of those things when you're about to explode or lay somebody out or put them in their place. Because many people, you'll have to do that. Right? So you get frustrated because the master planner continuously plays games and tries to derail everything you do. Right? They may have you working 7 days a week because they require it, or they really need you to come in and help out. But then they'll make the hours in such a way that you only get a regular week's worth of pay. So you're doing 40 hours a week, but you were there for 7 days. Most people get 5 days in good before they hit 40 hours. That's regulation. That's what normal job environments do. But in these environments, they'll work you like a slave. They'll tell you that they need you to be there for whatever thing that's going on or something, and they'll name a time, oh, you can just help us out, please, if you stay over, And then when that time comes, you'll find out that they need you there another 3 hours, right? So you've already put in a full day, and now they need you for 3 more hours. Never mind the fact that you may have daycare that you have to pick your child up from, and based on your scheduling that they gave you, and I'm talking about regular stuff that happens to everyday people, based on your scheduling that they gave you, you're now in a situation where you have to get somebody to go pick up your kid or something. And if it's not that, it'll be other things, like if you work a job where they issue out uniforms, you'll notice that, in the new season, that every single person you work with will have a new uniform. But they haven't given you yours. They say they don't have the size or something. So you have to wait on back order for 6 months. And wearing uniforms that you had from previous years. These are for jobs where people have to, be in uniform. They'll do little stuff like that, and you'll say, is that really work legal? Because in your mind, you're thinking, this is a job, right? If everybody's issued a uniform, how could someone withhold my uniforms? But they'll do that. And there'll be all types of little stupid shit like that they'll work out. They'll say that, you can't take your break with certain people. They'll literally come out with things that make no logical sense in a grown professional environment. But they'll say these things because they hold the key. They have the power. Now, like I started off by saying, absolute power absolutely corrupts. Wise saying, very wise, because it does. Sometimes people with lower grounding, because they are lower grounded, they don't have the ability to handle all of that authority that they have. And so they use that authority to put their foot down on people's necks and keep their thumb on and tabs on people that they want to target. You know? Now the scary thing for these people is that, and I'm talking about for the narcissists, is that when you're fucking with justice empaths or hybrids, they're just waiting for the day to take your scalp. You have no idea that this day is coming, but your scalp is going to be taken. So that's part of what I'm going to tell you folks right now. And I'm going to wrap this up because it's been a little bit, and I had to get back to something. But you have to remember that this is the game in workplaces. And so, you know, don't tell all your business. Be professional and set that up from day one. Set that standard from day one where you don't discuss your business, you don't have relationships at work, you don't fucking get close to the boss, you don't exchange sexual favors with your boss, because then you're a lowlife. And that's another thing I'll say real quick. Bosses who have authority, who use that power to sleep with subordinates or intimidate and stuff like that, that's like sexual bullying. And it's a bunch of other things that goes into it. It's illegal, right? In many cases, and you know, it's unethical at best. If you know whether there be some legalities to that or not, but we definitely know certainly that it's unethical. So you guys live your lives in unethical fashions. You're very unprofessional, you know, and so hybrid empaths. Or justice empaths. Justice empaths are keen to the bullshit that you are putting out. We always look for the master planner first. We never come to a work environment and look at the flying monkeys and not understand that there's a puppet master somewhere. And we look for the strings. We just look at your back and we just trace the strings back to the fingers that are holding the stick. Because you're puppets. Right? You guys, you know, in another video, I'll come back and once I get through with learning some more things, I'll come back and we'll discuss the clinicals of how to deal in a narcissistic workplace environment with master planner bosses who you may work under, or, you know, you may be a few employees removed from this boss. You know, in other words, your boss's boss or something like that. But still, if you're in an atmosphere where you can be around these people, they will play the game. They will set the game, the standards for the game, and the rules. Right? And you don't want to play those. I love bad behavior people. I don't love unprofessional leaders. Leaders with no good moral character. Leaders who lack restraint and the ability to have great restraint with that power that they were afforded. Y'all like the videos, y'all share them. When I come back again, we're going to talk about the clinicals of how to survive in these environments. We'll talk again. Take care.